Today's video is going to discuss chapter 4.4, solving equations by multiplying or dividing. So similar to what we did before, when we were adding or subtracting, we need to isolate the variable by itself. So if you're looking at this problem, 5p equals 35, keep in mind that this is actually, the operation being done there is multiplication, right? So I'm multiplying 5 times some number that we don't know yet that we're going to call p, and that will equal 35. So if I'm multiplying 5 times p, what I need to do in order to isolate is I need to do the opposite. So if I'm multiplying by 5, what I'm going to end up doing to both sides is I'm going to divide by 5. Keep in mind that it's really important that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. Otherwise it's going to throw off that balance. Remember, this means that they have to be equal, they have to be balanced. Now, when I divide 5 by 5, I end up getting 1. So this actually equals 1p, or just p, equals 35 divided by 5, and this is 7. So the answer I got is p equals 7. Now again, I can take this number, I can substitute it in for p, and I can make sure that I'm correct, and so that means that 5 times 7 equals 35. If that statement is true, then I'm correct. If that statement is untrue or false, then I would be incorrect, and then I would know that I need to go back and fix something. Okay, so you can always check your answer in algebra, which is part of what makes it so great. There are many reasons why it's so great. That just is one of them. So let's try another problem. 4x equals negative 48. Again, I'm going 4 times some number which equals negative 48. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, since I'm multiplying by a 4, I'm going to end up dividing this side by 4 and dividing this side by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So this becomes x equals, now be careful over here, negative 48 divided by 4, negative divided by positive is going to give me a negative, and so this is a negative 12. Right, and again, I can check my answer by going 4 times negative 12 equals negative 48. If this statement is true, then I'm correct. If it's false, then I'm incorrect, but 4 times negative 12 does, in fact, equal negative 48. So this is a correct answer. All right, now let's talk about what happens when it's not multiplication, and instead what we're doing is we're dividing. So I'm going to take, keep in mind that as a fraction, this means it's division, right? So this is really the same, even though it says y over 4, it's really the same as y divided by 4 equals negative 8. If I'm dividing y by 4, the opposite of division is multiplication, so what I'm going to do is multiply both sides by 4. Now, keep in mind that this is the same as 1y over 4, which essentially means that this is y times 1/4, or 1/4 times y. And so this 4 and this 4 will end up canceling out, leaving me with just a y. It's a really important trick to understand. So what I'm really doing over here is this y over 4 is the same as 1/4 times y. And so then when I multiply 4 to both sides, what I'm doing is I'm going 4 times 1/4 times y. And if you remember the multiplicative inverse, right, or if you look at it like this is going to become 4 over 4 times 1 over 1 times 4, so this becomes 4 over 4, so this is the same as 4 over 4y. Sorry, they all look like y's. 4 over 4y, and 4 over 4 is the same as 1, so I end up with 1y, which I can just write like this. Okay, so this is why this magic trick works. So this ends up canceling out, and I'm left with just the y, and then over here I got negative 8 times 4. Negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. Now, again, what I can do is check my answer. So to check my answer, I would want to put negative 32 over 4 should equal negative 8. If that statement is true, which it is, then this is a correct answer. Right? But a lot of times what people do is they forget that something happens with this negative sign, and had you gotten a positive 32, you could see, hopefully, if you checked your answer, that 32 divided by 4 does not equal negative 8, so you made a mistake somewhere. Right? And then you can figure out that that was from that negative sign. All right, talk about one last problem. So the idea here is that I've got negative 3/5 times x equals negative 6. And so what I'm going to do is use a trick where I'm going to take this fraction and I'm going to flip it. Okay, and so if I flip this fraction and I multiply it by negative 5/3 times negative 3/5 times x, I'm just going to put the negative 3/5 in parentheses. What you can see is that this negative times negative is going to give me a positive. 5 times 3 over 3 times 5 is going to give me 15 over 15, which is the same as 1. So I'm going to end up isolating the x. However, remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side, which means I need to multiply this side by negative 5/3. Okay, the other way you can see it is that what I'm going to do is, let's come back to this problem. So if you look at this problem, what we ended up doing, sorry, some of this stuff went away, but we took the number that was in front of the x, right, which was this. So there was a 4 in front of the x, and so what I did was divided 4 to both sides. Well, you're really doing the same thing here. You're taking this number, and I'm dividing it to both sides. And if you remember, when you divide fractions, what you really end up doing is taking that, and so if I wanted to go 6, so if I wanted to do negative 6, let's write it over here, negative 6 divided by negative 3/5, what I would really do is change this to multiplication and flip this fraction, which is essentially what I'm doing. Okay, so you can kind of see it either way. So if I'm coming back down to this blue part to solve this, this will cancel itself out, and so I'm left with 1x, or just x, equals, now remember this is really the same as 6 over 1, and I'm going to multiply across. Negative times negative means it's going to be positive, and so 6 times 5 is 30, 1 times 3 is 3. So I end up with 30 over 3, which can be simplified to 10. Now, again, what I want to do is check my answer. So, I want to put a 10 back up here and make sure that this is going to work. So I go negative 3/5 times 10 equals negative 6. Well, negative 3/5 times 10, remember this is the same as 10 over 1, so it's negative 30 over 5 equals negative 6. This becomes negative 6 equals negative 6. Obviously that statement is true, means that this answer is correct. All right, that's all we got for you on multiplying and dividing with algebraic equations. Please make sure that you remember whatever you do to the left side, you have to do to the right side, and vice versa. Remember, we're isolating the variable, trying to get it by itself so we can solve the problem. Please don't forget to do the problems on the bottom of this page. Thank you for watching the video. See you in class.